Hey, Ratso, what's wrong with your nose?
Oh, what nose?
Your nose. What's going on with your nose?
My nose is great. What's wrong with your nose?
Well, I don't know what's wrong with your nose. I mean, come on, Ratso. Don't you understand, buddy, that we're live right now on my live channel?
Hey, guys.
So, Ratso, you just had surgery?
Yeah, I did.
So, what happened?
My nose was falling off.
Your nose was falling off? What's wrong with your nose? I mean, it's right there in my face.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it was falling off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, so let's take Ratso off for just a second and let's talk about the surgery we did. So again, I don't normally take my puppets off, but again, this is a crazy puppet I had made. And so it's actually by Matt Puppets, great designers, have history with the Muppets. And I actually watched a event recently about that show. Let me just double check the chat here. Got to change to this new live and welcome you guys. Looks like lots of you are on with me. So that was just a little, I haven't practiced at all with Ratso. I literally did the surgery today. We've had some crazy things going on in the family. And so actually, I've had Ratso for a long time. He's been in the case. I got the case back here. We'll get Grandpa Jones out here in a minute. And their voices are very similar. I'm still working on refreshing my vocal cords for Ratso. And because of the response, I am planning on doing some special things here on the channel. We'll talk more about that in the future. But that's why I'm doing some repair. So two things. His nose was coming loose. And so it just goes everywhere. And it literally, you could see the thread and it was starting to pull away. And that's because I love shaking his nose, especially when I had him out with the grandkids over the years. And then there are two threads here that kind of hold his arms up, make him look more natural. And this one stretched out still needs to be worked on. It's too long right now. I can also put a arm control on him, which I do have, but it has to be reattached. And so still working on Ratso. That's the update on Ratso. So not only does this keep his arms up, because if I have my hand in him, up in the back, my other hand has to be free to just look natural, and I can use it also to control his hands, and I don't have my hand all the way up in there because I got to push it all the way up inside. But these keep his arms looking more natural, and if I'm standing up, like you see a lot of ventriloquists do, and you'll see me stand up once I start doing some stuff in here. I have some ideas I'm playing with in my head right now. I'm going to do some videos to kind of see how it looks before we do anything live. But I want to be able to bring Ratso on the post show and make an appearance quite often, quite frequently, as well as some of the other puppets I have. So I'll just let you know, in the next 3 or 4 weeks in the post show, you guys are going to get a chance to meet Grandpa Jones. You're going to get a chance to meet Rudy, and you're going to get a chance to meet Benjamin C. Bear right here in the post shows. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit about ventriloquism, not a lot, because I am actually using the cloud lifter right now. So you can tell me, guys, what it sounds like, because I did hook it up. I did turn on phantom power. It looks like it's a little hot if I get too close, but a big difference between, there I am skipping an ad on my phone for my own channel, so I can monitor the chat right here as well on my phone. So guys, I hope that you will stay tuned for that. But again, repaired the nose today, also added this new string, and I'm using some filament, and this is CFX fluorocarbon, and again, not sponsored. This is like 25 pound, or yeah, 25 pound test. And again, the other cable, the other thin line snapped at some point, and it changes the way he operates, and he just doesn't, that one arm doesn't look natural. And so again, it just makes him look more realistic when I have one hand in there and I'm busy. And if I do bring another puppet on, and I have been able to over the years do 2 puppets at the same time, then obviously I can't run a rod. So the arms need to look as natural as possible. And that's part of the reason why he has those strings hanging on there. So when his head moves, his arms move, and it just looks more like he's moving around and more natural. So again, I also wanted to show you guys Grandpa Jones, and Grandpa Jones was a different puppet when I first started with Grandpa, and then I found a puppet that was very similar, a lot better quality, and so I upgraded Grandpa Jones to a little larger puppet, and here he is.
Hey, hey, how you going? How's it going? Yeah, well, I'm Grandpa Jones.
Yeah, well, you look a little overexposed right now. Is my camera whacking out?
I don't know.
So anyway, very similar voices. Grandpa Jones, I'm going to probably do a little bit of work on his voice when I get into routines, make it just a little bit more old sounding. And again, I haven't had him out to perform in forever, but he's a quality puppet, very similar. You can buy these in bulk, so there's more than one of these out there, where Ratso is a one-off. And again, same thing, nothing attached to his arms. You can use rods with him, and you can make him look realistic. He can sneeze, which obviously that would freak you out. So Grandpa Jones, and I will work on a little bit of stuff with him, get his voice dialed in, and he's going to make an appearance in the post shows as well. And those are the only 2 guys I brought tonight. The other puppets are in a different case, and so that's all on that tonight. So I do have the Key Light Mini up above me as the hair light, right up above. I turned my other UL 150 off. It's a very big, bright light, and I had it stopped down by using the barn doors, so there's just a crack of light coming out because I needed to have the key light in my hand. So let's do a couple things here before we get into setting up a page in the Stream Deck. Let me go into the chat and see if you guys have anything specific you want me to answer. And for some reason, I do not have the chat going on my phone. So let me try this one more time. My page. There I am live. Who monetized this channel? So skip the commercial. So great to see Stop and Think here. Hank, hi, Keith, sending a big hello from Bluffton, South Carolina. Thank you, Hank. Hello, Keith, sending greetings from Port Albany, BC, Canada, and that's where Dennis C is from. And love to someday be able to share your channel where people could actually show, you could see clips of some of those hockey games. He is a one-man band, and I'm telling you what, a lot of responsibility with multi-camera live events at a hockey event. Fast sport, absolutely love watching hockey when I can. Craig says hi. It's good to see you, Craig. And a little TV, right? I guess I'm on the camera tonight. Doug Force, looking forward to hearing the Cloud Lifter in action tonight. Howdy from Memphis, Tennessee. So yeah, live show was with the Rodecaster Pro with no Cloud Lifter. Post show, first time ever. Literally, I want to bring the gain down just a touch, because if it stays kind of in the middle, this is a really good comparison to what it was before the Cloud Lifter. Again, the Cloud Lifter is a device that you simply put in line. So normally you would hook from your mixer to your microphone, right? And this is a dynamic microphone. The difference between a dynamic and a condenser microphone, condensers are a lot more sensitive. They need phantom power, and what phantom power is, it's 48 volts. Usually some countries, there's other microphones that are condensers that use a different amount of volts. So some devices actually give you the ability to feed either type of power to microphones, and but the typical is phantom power, and those volts are sent then to that condenser microphone, and that electricity that you're sending to it, right, makes that microphone work and makes it way more sensitive. So lots of recordings in studios, in isolation booths with sound dampening material, soundproof rooms, because condensers will definitely pick up a truck driving by here where a dynamic microphone doesn't have the same ability to draw in those sounds. They're super sensitive. And so I would never use, for me personally, with my experience, I'd never use a condenser microphone in the studio unless I had to. Now, I do have a condenser microphone that is designed to go on a platform, on a podium that I have in channel 4 that I can use anytime I'm doing some demos on my desk. It is a condenser microphone, but it's the type of condenser that's not as sensitive as the ones I'm talking about, like the Neumann UA7, like the Audio-Technica 4040s, the 4047s, all of those microphones. I've had lots of different microphones in my years that are both condensers and dynamic microphones, but sometimes these dynamic microphones lack gain, so they need help. So the Cloud Lifter plugs in between the microphone. So you come out of the microphone, XLR into the Cloud Lifter, out of the other side of the Cloud Lifter into your device, your console, and then you turn on phantom power. Dynamic microphone doesn't normally need phantom power. I'm not feeding it phantom power. I'm using the phantom power to feed the Cloud Lifter, and that's the difference. So the Cloud Lifter needs power to boost the gain, so it uses phantom power to power it. If not, you'd have to plug in a power strip or a power plug it into your wall like I have to with the ATEMs. And so it's just one nice feature I love about it. And again, we'll listen to how it sounds. I will be able to play. Let me hit record, because I did want to record this post show so that I can listen back to the audio difference, and I'll compare it. I'll also go on YouTube and compare the two videos after they're posted here. So talked about Ratso, talked about the Cloud Lifter again. It is plugged in, so let me know if you can hear a difference between now and before. Let me plug my headphones on real quick, or plug them on. They're plugged in. Let me put them on. Testing 1, 2. Check. Testing 1, 2. Yeah, it'll be interesting for me to be able to listen to it before and after, which I will be doing some testing this week. I didn't test it before the live show or the post show because I wanted to unbox it in the live show. So, and when I do an unboxing, it's an unboxing. I don't take it out and then put it back and unbox it. I always try to shoot those things live and see it for the first time. So again, thank you so much. Ready for the post show, Freddie says. Force Online Doug says again, Doug Force and maybe Ratso. Ratso was on in the very beginning and a little bit in the intro. Again, I wasn't prepared with a skit, but I wanted to talk about his nose being repaired, as well as adding that filament back to his one arm because it snapped. The other one stretched out, so that's going to get repaired probably tomorrow. And then we're going to be working in the next couple of weeks on voices for those two characters, and I'll be writing some conversations, very much scripted as much as I possibly can, until I feel comfortable doing more ad libs. Yeah, this is not a wedding ring per se, but this is actually, and let's see, that was a question by Conjoined Technologies, and Ratso is the man. So I actually got this. My wife and I went on our first ever cruise, and we went down the California coast, down to the Panhandle, and on the beach, there was a guy vending, and I typically wouldn't buy from the vendors like that, especially in a country that I wasn't familiar with, but something just struck me when we were walking on the beach that day. We were kind of off the beaten path, and he came up, and I saw this ring. In fact, this stone that's in here, I forget what it's called. It's just stainless steel, with this stone in it, and there's like 3 stripes of that stone. Let me see, is my Canon still on? Yeah, let's switch to Super Source here. You guys can see this. So there's the ring. Man, that light's not that great. Let me see if I can focus better here. There we go. Pretty good. Let's see if I can get how close I can get it before it won't let me focus. There you go. So again, stainless steel. I bought this ring on the beach. It's got a little chip out of it right there. And I actually lost it for about, I don't know, 6 or 7 months. And finally asked my wife, didn't have the audacity to tell her I lost another ring, which has been my historic problem with rings. And evidently I took it off when my hands broke out. Again, I had a couple weeks where I was sick this last fall, and then a lot of things that normally don't bother me started bothering me, and one of them is my skin. So I took the ring off, set it somewhere, and I couldn't find it. My wife said she found it sitting somewhere and put it away from me. So when I finally had the guts enough to ask her the question, she said, "I know right where your ring is." How does that work? So you can't win sometimes. You're trying to not get in trouble, and in reality, I didn't have my ring on for forever in the live streams. So that's that on that. Okay, it's already a half hour in. I really want to get into showing you how to set up pages. Let me see if there's any other comments I need to address here. Cloud Lifter sounds a bit fuller, but it's not a drastic difference. The Rodecaster was doing a pretty good job already. Yeah, obviously the Rodecaster Pro was doing a good enough job for me to hold off and save the money. But I also kind of began to feel like the SM7B does need a little bit more gain. And if I'm going to talk audio and have an SM7B on my show, I want to be able to do a video of it with or without. And I will be producing a video now that I have a Cloud Lifter. And it does, typically the demos that I've listened to with my headphones on that other people have done, it does. It sounds just a little bit fuller, or sometimes a little bit more mid boost. It's one of the things I notice about the Neumann U87, that when you do vocals on it and you look at it when you're editing, there's just something going on in the mid range that's unique to that microphone. No, it's just hard to explain. Even as a mastering engineer, I don't have words to explain what it does. But if you could put it next to like other microphones that are very high end, you're going to see that there's just something going on in the mid part of that signal. And you can see it on your timeline when you're just zooming into the audio and then comparing it to other microphones. I did like a 9 microphone test, and to see if I really wanted to get a U87, if I could save money getting something else that I thought was a good mic. And by far, that microphone stood out in the pack. So again, this is not a sponsored video. I've paid for all of these things, and I've since then sold my Neumann U87 because I wouldn't use it in a live stream. I sold it to a friend of mine who was producing music. I wanted to get back in his hands. He was a producer for me, had his own studio, and I wanted him to have that microphone, so I sold it to him, so I knew it was still out producing music, because some microphones sit in a case and never get used. Okay, I'm going to move on here, but I want to look. I'm not an expert, but I think the sound is better with the Cloud Lifter. Thank you, Freddie. That's Freddie Ponce, and he is from Venezuela. And so thank you for staying on late with me, Freddie. And then also earlier in the in the live stream, we had someone from Australia. So that's kind of cool to have you guys from so far away. Controlling Technologies, when you go to Super Source, your logo breaks. Oh, does it? Let's see. Yeah, it is. Good to know. Yeah, that's showing you the wrong channel. That's showing you the key channel. So I have to figure out what's going on. I did not see that. Normally that doesn't happen, but tonight somehow it's defaulting to only showing you one channel. What that can mean is that there's something going on with the A10 Mini Extreme, because that should be working just fine, because it's a graphic inside my media pool. So let me show you guys that real quick. Let's bring this over to my desktop. We will get to the demo here shortly. Instead of showing you the stream, which I'm watching on my laptop, now we'll cut to Super Source and find out what's going on with this graphic. So if we go in here, it is showing something that I did not tell it to show. So we'll go into Super Source. Right here, box 1 is cropped. There's the crop, and it's showing my camera, Canon 5D Mark IV, which is my typical camera. The background is not right. Yeah, the background is right there, but it is not showing, that's why it's broke, I think. It's not showing Media Player 2. You guys aren't seeing this. Sorry about that. I'll fix that here in a second. Go back to Super Source. Let's go to input number 2, I believe. And I'll bring my desktop up. Sorry about that. So what I did is I went into Super Source right here. And again, there's folders up here. I'm in the control software by Blackmagic Design. My logo resides right here on input 1, or I call it Media Player 1, which they call it. And then this is Media Player 2, which is the background for Super Source. And when you have an Extreme or Extreme ISO, you have both choices. You have 2 media players. If you're in an A10 Mini, A10 Mini Pro, A10 Mini Pro ISO by Blackmagic Design, you're going to have this same amount of, I believe, the same amount of places to put still images, graphics, PNG graphics, and my graphic is right here. I could drop a different graphic in there, pop it right there, and if, oops, open an app here. Sorry about that. Got to wait a second here. I clicked on the wrong thing. Let me just go behind, put it behind. I'll shut it down here in a minute. If I go down here to my switcher and turn that on, then there's that logo, which I made last week in a live. And then if I go back to my media player, right here, or media pool. Come on. Work with me here. Let me pop out of this real quick, just in case it does shut down. I'll pop back. Super Source, are you ready? Okay, I'll go back in here. So what I did is I opened up another app and it started taking up my computer, so I couldn't show you the software. So make sure you're not trying to run the control software and other apps that take a lot of memory. And this is a very fast i9 Asus ZenBook Pro Duo, and it's got the i9 processor. It's got a very fast video card, I think a 2060. Couple years old now, almost 3 years old, and I'm looking forward to updating it sometime in the near future. So here's my graphic. It's in Media Player 1, and I can bring that on the air. And then I have my background. I can bring that on the air or use it as a background in Super Source. So if you go over here, I can turn those graphics on and off right here. So I have key 1 assigned to that graphic. But if I right now drop this other into here, you're going to watch it change on the screen. And so I could drop any one of these slides in. If I drop in like my still image, it's going to cover everything because this is the layer on top right now. That graphic below me, Life Journey Productions, is a layer on top. So if I drop this still image right here, I'm about to drop it in. Watch what happens to the screen because this key is going to cover up everything behind it. Goodbye. And then if I drop my other graphic in that same slot and all I did was drag it over, now I'm back on the screen in Super Source showing you the control software and the media pool and the media player. So what happened is that I had the wrong background in the background chosen in my background for Super Source, and that's right here. You go into Super Source, you go to Art. The background source is right here, and it was set to Media Player 1. Instead of Media Player 2. And you can see what happened to the screen because I had the wrong thing selected in Super Source. So with Super Source, you're going to select a background, right? You're going to then select the boxes that you want to have on or off. In those boxes, you're going to select what you want as an input, and whatever you have live as an input in your ATEM, you can actually put there, or even a still image could be in a box if you wanted to. If you have a HyperDeck, you could bring that channel into a box as well and play a video next to you, which is a great reason I like HyperDecks because I can bring the HyperDeck over here. So like right now I have, let's see, I have this logo playing. I'm going to double it. So if I went up here in the palettes and in the background, I chose to have my other HyperDeck playing, which is my HyperDeck 2. So we'll put that on the screen. So now behind me is a graphic plane. So I could put that in this box as well. So I'm going to go back to Media Player 2. I'm going to go back to Super Source, and I'll go into box 2 right here. Let's see, Super Source. Let's go to presets. Let's go box 2. And let me bring the hyperdeck into box 2. Now I have my logo playing there as well. So you can play a video next to you in Super Source. You just have to decide what you want in that box, and that's box number 2. And so we'll change that back to my desktop. And again, that's why you have to kind of make sure you check everything and make sure it's working right. And that was one of the comments, because that logo was not working right. So this is distracting me. So I'm going to hit stop on my hyperdeck. And now what we'll do is we're going to change now what's on the screen. So let me go back to this view real quick. And we'll turn my logo back on Follow Me. And let me go into my software here. I'm going to bring this back over here. So what I'm doing is I'm moving the control software from my desktop, which I can put on the screen, over onto my BenQ monitor, so I can just monitor the control software without putting it on a screen. And now what I want to do, I'm going to minimize the chat right here. Ratso is doing great. You're responding to probably someone's question. May I suggest using a DSK for your logo? Downstream key, yeah, you should suggest I use a downstream key, because that's really what you should be using your downstream keys for. I just learned backwards, so I'm moving that direction, but he's right. Use your downstream keys. They have less things. They don't have a DVE in them. They don't have a lot of the other stuff. They're just designed to take a PNG out of your media pool and put it on the screen. You could also play your hyperdeck there, and then they're on the very last layer. So great tip. I agree. Tony's here. Good to see you, Tony. Yep, and he said he just got off a call, and I knew that. You let me know today, and we also were told by Conjoined Technologies why you weren't in the main live. I believe it was in the main live that you said that. So again, it's good to see you guys all here. I see Craig. I think I've said hi to you. When you go to Super Source, your logo, I talked about that. Did I miss anything here from Doug? Yeah, my gain was maxed out, and now I'm at like 32. I was at like 42 to 45 when I was using the Rodecaster Pro without the cloud lifter. So again, I have a cloud lifter in line now on my Sure SM7B. If you're just joining me, I've never had a cloud lifter before. Even when I owned my recording studio, never had a cloud lifter, never used a Sure SM7B that I remember. There may have been a time that one of the artists brought it, but we just plugged it in line and fed him power. So I may have been around cloud lifters before, but it's very vague. But I have one now in the studio. It belongs to me. I paid for it. Okay. I'll come back to the chat, guys. I apologize. Just if yeah, again, a comment about Ratso from Craig. Ratso is doing better. He still has one more minor surgery. I want to take a good look at him and make sure, again, he has been around my family for about 13 or 14 years now, I believe. And, you know, when my grandkids hug him and all that stuff, over time when I've had him out, he's had some disarray. And so I am arraying him. I'm rearraying him, if that's even something you can say. And again, Conjoined Technology is saying the more he listens, the better the mic is sounding to him. That's awesome. I'm glad that's happening. Okay, so I want to get right into the software. So let me get this set up. I need to minimize the chat. So I'll try to watch on my phone, guys. So let me get out of OBS. One more thing running in the background. I should have shut before we went live. And now let me switch to Super Source. So now you have me, and I'm going to leave my logo off for right now because it'll cover part of that box. And now I'm going to do two things. I'm going to open the Stream Deck software. So there you go. And then right down here again, if I open this app up, This is the Elgato Control app, and you need to have all of these things hooked up in order to operate them. Oh, and you guys are not seeing that. Why? Oh, it minimized. Let's try that again. So there's all the devices. You can't move this window, so you have to wait until that little icon times out. So I can turn on my son's light, which is over my shoulder. You're going to see it get bright, but it's just off camera. I have this key light on me right now, and I have auto ISO turned off, I think, right now. Yeah, I do. That's why I stayed dark. And then this is the new key light, Elgato Light Mini, which is a hair light above my head. And I'm going to turn my other light off so you can see it go on and off, because it's not going to be very visible. It's just designed to add a little shine to my back of my head, to separate me from the background and the edge of my shirt. And I did not get a chance to totally adjust it because it was down in my hand for the live show, and I stuck it up there seconds before I grabbed Ratso for the intro tonight. So, okay, we'll shut that off. This is, I call it the Elgato Key Light Desk Key. That's my key light. And then I use the other one when it's not on the table behind me. Let's turn that on and off. That one back there is normally over here. And I kind of like this new look without it. It's just, I think it added too much light with the key light over here. So I'm only going to use that light now when I turn to the other camera. And I do have that camera working now. For some reason, it was disconnected. I'll show you guys that. So there's the two lights. Let me show you them go off and on again. So here is my son's key light Air. And again, that is 1400 lumens. And here is one of my two key lights that I own. One I'm using right now on my face, and then this one on the table. There you go. And so now if I cut back to Super Source and I turn this light off, now watch the mini light go on and off. Can you see it? So it's adding just a little bit of hair light. I do have auto ISO on, and it just went absolutely crazy. What is going on here? There we go. Normally that camera adjusts way faster than that. So if you have auto ISO, what that means is that whatever light you give your camera, it's going to raise and lower the ISO. I don't necessarily recommend that, but when you're playing with lights and turning them on and off, I like to have it on, and I've been doing a lot of that lately this week, so that's why auto ISO is off. If it's not on, then you have to make sure all three of those things are set. We call it the kind of the triangle. Obviously, you're going to have your shutter speed at twice what you're filming at or you're videoing at, and I'm doing 2997 frames per second tonight, and so I would double that, and the closest I can get to 2997 is 60 frames per second. That would stay 60 frames per second on this camera all the time. Then I could open and close the aperture, which makes the background more or less blurry. And there's a little blur tonight because I did go down from 5.6 aperture to 5, and that will add a little bit more blur back there. But again, this light is going to be my hair light. It's just within reach above my head. I may have it closer, but I did not want to have it on camera, and I did not want it spilling over onto my lens to create a flare, and that's what it was doing when I got it closer to my head today testing. So, okay, so now this is all hooked up, and again, I demoed that in the first live stream. It'll be in the video tomorrow, how to hook up the Key Light Mini. Now let me show you. We'll delete each one of these buttons. Going to delete that, and I know this is very bold, but I'm just going to delete this page. This is not hard, but if you've never done it, it might be. Shouldn't be. So one at a time, I'm deleting them, and it's going to ask me every time, are you sure you want to delete the preset for 7 Kelvin? Yeah, and I don't need it that cold ever. I just did that in the video yesterday. So blank page. I could have come up here and made a new page. This one's called Key Light Mini I made yesterday. I could have clicked on this and just went down here and clicked on New Profile, which is what I did to create the mini page. But I already have it. We'll use it. Now I need to make sure I have the control software over here downloaded. But what if you don't? There's this little icon right here next to the little system wheel icon. If you open that one, it gives you the update settings, firmware, counts, and all of that. If you click on this, it brings up all the apps that are available. And I want to go to a plugin. So I clicked on plugin over here. And I want to find Control Software by Elgato. So I'm just going to type in Control and hit Enter. Here's the Control Software. I'd have to uninstall it because I already have it installed, but you would install it. And after that's installed and you get through the install process, then you got to find it over here in all of your plugins, everything you've added. So I would just simply go over here and do the same thing. I would search Control, and I might have two things in here under the name Control. There's the Control Software. Now I have it ready, and I just drag in the buttons. So I have a button for on and off. I have a button for set brightness. I have a button for adjust brightness, which there's a difference, right? Set brightness would go to a certain brightness level, 50%, 60, 70, 10%. But if I want to adjust brightness, I can go up and down like 10% at a time. So then set temperature, that would set you to a specific Kelvin temperature, or Kelvin, probably Kelvin is the official way of pronouncing that. I can do that, or I can set a color up and down, set temperature up and down. So let's drag in an on and off button. And I'm not going to make all these buttons tonight, guys, but we're going to bring in a button for every light I have now. And the first thing you do is you drag in the buttons that you want. So I have a key light 1, a key light 2, a key light 3, and a key light 4. I'm not going to play with key light 1. So I'm just going to let you know that you would need a button for that, because I have 4 lights now. I have my son's key light Air, my 2 key lights, and then I have the new Mini, which is above my head now. And again, if you want to see that, that's in the first live stream. I showed everything that was in the box in the first live stream, and you can watch the new video tomorrow and see me unbox it. So now I'm going to go down here, and I don't need to title these. I'm just going to go to the light I want. Light number 1 would be my Elgato key light fill. Again, I'm not going that, actually, no, let's change that one. Let's make that one the Mini. So key light Mini, and you can name these when you set up these lights. We'll make this one my son's Air, and it'll always default to a single light. I don't know really what the order is, but you want to make sure the first step you do is choose what device you want to control when you have more than one device. So you could have a ring light, you could have a couple key lights or 3 key lights, you could have a couple of Airs in your studio, you could have their light strip in your studio, you could have Minis, and you could just add those as lights, and you'll have to scroll up and down once you get so many of those added. And you can see how full this little screen is right now with my 4 lights. So obviously you would have to scroll down. I've never seen it with adding more lights. One day I'll add another light and I'll be able to know what that's going to look like. You can turn all the lights on from here, or each individual lights. I can change the color temperature, and these are already hooked up. I can always control the lights as long as they're on my wireless network. And again, I'll demo how to hook up a light again in the upload tomorrow in the Elgato Key Light Mini video I'm uploading. So they're all here all the time. So you can minimize that. And then now in the Stream Deck, you can create buttons. And I'm going to show you the Stream Deck and what the buttons look like on the deck. They look pretty much just like this, but we'll hook up the tethered phone and show you guys that here in a minute. So we'll go to light 1, and let's just say we would want to hook up my main key light. So Elgato Key Light Mini, Elgato Key Light Fill, Bryson's light, and then my main key light. So my main key light that I'm using right now is, I said I wasn't going to mess with it, but I already did once. Let's do it again. So I can now click on this on my Stream Deck, not here. And these buttons will work as a on and a off, or I could make a separate button for on or a separate button for off. And that's right down here. So right now it's just set to do both. But if I just wanted a 1 press off, I could make a 1 press off button. So that light's on right now. And if I was to push it, it would go off. And that would be a button for off, 1 push. But you can make these buttons go on and off and just leave it as an on and off button. I can name them on, off. I could also name them the light. So let's say this is the main key light. Obviously, if I change cameras, I have my secondary key light usually over here set up, but it's behind me on the table. So now I have a label here, and you can see I don't have the ability to do that many words unless I was to hit enter. and then it puts part of it on the actual icon, which I don't want. So we'll just abbreviate this main KL. Okay. So then the next one, I would click on it, go down here and choose the next light, which we would make Elgato key light. Desk key. Did we already do that one? Yep. Sorry. Try that one more time. Key light. Fill. Sorry. The next one. Air. The next one. Mini. So now all of these are set up. Let's bring over another button here. Let's set brightness. So we'll test these at 50% brightness. So I've got the key light desk key. We want the same one there. We'll bring over a set brightness button below this one. And again, that is the key light fill. So we want this to be the key light fill. Then we're going to drag over a set brightness here. These are all 50%. They say right on them when you put them on the screen what brightness are at. And I can lower that. If I wanted this one to be less, I could just drag this wheel to the right or the left and lower the temperature. So this one would be then the key light air, my son's light, who was nice enough to let me borrow it for tonight's video and the other video, and then the mini. So we're going to add one more set brightness mini button. And I will go down here and choose the mini. So there are some steps. You do have to set the buttons up. And then if you want to actually show them in a live stream, you have to have a way to show your Stream Deck. So I am going to tether my phone again real quickly. It's tethered. Let me open up Filmic Pro. Let me switch over here to that camera. And hook it up. I'm using my Joby little adapter, and we'll just leave it like this right now, and I'm going to change what is in. Actually, let's add another window. Let's just be a little bit technical tonight. So let me go over here and open up After Effects here. Super Source. We have box 1 is my camera, 2 is my desktop, and so let's change to a 3-box layout like this one, and there you go. So now you can see the Stream Deck, and so here's the buttons, and you can see what lights are on, they're lit up, and you can see what lights are off. So literally, if it's off, the light in the button changes, and when it's on, the light in the button changes. That's not true as much with these buttons for setting a temperature, but I noticed that it even shows me the shape of the key light air, which is never noticed before. So this is my main light. So if I hit this button once, it goes off, hit it again, it goes on. The next button is my key light fill on the table. Let's say I have that on, I want to go to 50% brightness. I hit the 50% brightness button, now it's set for 50% brightness. Now if I turn the next light on, that is my son's key light air. We'll change it to 50% brightness, and then my hair light is on, and now it's off. Now it's back on again, and I can set it to 50% brightness. And that would actually show up in the software, and you can see those move if I open up the software. So let's add one more layer to this demo. And it's not opening up. It says it's already open. That's Stream Deck. What am I doing here? There it is. No, that's Stream Deck. I want to open up Elgato Control Panel. There it is. So now watch those as I turn off the first light. The key light air is the first on the list. I think that's this one right here. See, it went off. and back on again. And then if I go, let's turn it down. And now I'll bring the brightness to 50% brightness. Watch this lever right there. And it jumped up. So you can see the Stream Deck has got the buttons that we set up. I have the ability to change it to 50% brightness. But what if I wanted to raise and lower the brightness? Then I would need to add another button. So let's adjust brightness. So we'll just play with the two lights that are on the desk, these two lights. Adjust brightness. We're gonna go down here. And what I wanna do is I wanna go up on the key light air, increments of 10%, and then we'll use the other light and we will go down increments of 10%. So actually the air is gonna go down 10% and the other fill light is gonna go up 10%. So what we're gonna do now is that I'm going to switch back over to my HyperDeck and I'm gonna bring up, let's bring them down first. We'll bring one up and one down. Let me open this again. So we want to bring the air, let's see, with air we're going to go up increments, right? It's off right now, not moving up. Key light, desk. I want this to be the key light, desk key. One of these got reset. Key light air, key light air, key light air, and we want to go minus 10%. So let's go to that light now. And we are going to go full brightness behind me. There it is, full brightness. And now with me ducking a little bit, let's bring that down now. And you can see it go down on the screen. I'll bring it up again. You can watch on the screen right there, and you can watch my fingers. And as I go down with that light, it goes down on the screen. You can turn those lights off over there. Hair light off. The lights on the table are now off. And now I just have my main desk key light on, and I have my hair light, which is kind of the way I was doing the stream tonight. So I can drag over set temperature. So let's just set the temperature of one of these lights as well. And then I can just pick a slider Kelvin temperature for whatever light. Let's just make it the air. Let's turn the air on. I believe that's the air. Yep. Nope. What did I turn off? There we go. Now I'll click on set temperature. And it actually changed the temperature to 47 Kelvin. And I could do that up and down with a button, but that's kind of how the buttons go. And again, it's already 5 after. I don't want to go too long on this. Let me get back in the chat. So let's change back to this view. Finish that dissolve and take my phone down. You can see it right here on the stand. And this is that little adapter by Joby. And it hooks on my phone. I have Filmic Pro opened, and I'm tethered to my Apple TV, which comes in to my stream tonight. So, okay. So we have demoed the Cloud Lifter. We have demoed the lights. I have 3 different types of Elgato lights. One belongs to my son. I have 2 key light airs, so that means in my studio I only have a key light. Excuse me, I have 2 key lights. So I have 2 key lights in the studio and 1 mini now. And then my son uses the key light air on his desk because he does his live streams. Okay, so let me get back into the stream tonight. Untether my phone. Get back in the chat and let me see if I can catch up here in the chat. I've used my bracket to show my stream deck tonight, so I don't have my phone here like I normally do to watch the chat. But Yeah, my white balance could be a little bit whacked tonight. Again, normally I have that. Let's go to my live stream setup. And I usually, anytime I'm about to go live, I'll adjust the light. And even though I do have auto ISO, I don't like auto ISO because sometimes because I have a dark shirt on, it could blow out my face a little bit. And so again, I would recommend you set your camera to manual, set your lights where you need them, get it looking really good, get microphone levels right, and then go live. But when I'm demoing this stuff, I'm popping things on and off, and my face does look just a little bit overexposed tonight, and I apologize, guys. Tony says, that was a comment. Let's see. Your face, that was from Craig. Then Tony says, a buddy of mine has a cloud lifter that he is no longer using. I may ask him to use it with the RE320. That's a great microphone, Tony, and I don't know if it needs a cloud lifter at all. But I guarantee if it doesn't have good gain, it's going to get a better sound if you can keep it kind of in the middle of the gain level. So obviously most boards, you know, you have a microphone at like, if it'll go up to 50 or 60, halfway seems to really be good sounding in those preamps. And remember, preamps do add some quality to your sound. And so, and the Rodecaster Pro has pretty good preamps. They're better out there. But if they don't have enough gain, then you need something like a cloud lifter to boost it. And I'm just now experiencing the difference. So I'm a rookie with cloud lifters. Craig, it's the vitamin D supplement. Freddie asks, smiley face from Craig. Freddie asks, can you show how you hook up the Key Light Mini? I showed that in the live show. Freddie, did you need to see that again? I'm going to get a drink while we consider it. It's also going to be in the video tomorrow. Maybe you missed that in the live show. So the challenge with hooking up the Key Light Mini, and I'll take you over there right now and show you this. Go back to Super Source. Let's go to Super Source here. And then let's go back to a 2-window layout here. And then I'll open up this software. I usually don't have this open when I'm going to demo this, but I do have, I think, the chat open behind it, so I'll leave this open. And then you click on this. So right here, Freddie, if you have it turned on and you're ready with your network, wireless network name and your wireless network password, because my Key Light Mini is already hooked up. I reset it in the live show so that I could demo on how to set it up. But right now I'm using it as a hair light, so I don't want to disconnect it. You hit this plus arrow right here, and then it's going to search for any light that's not already hooked up. As soon as it finds that light, right now it's not finding anything because they're already hooked up. So it's looking specifically for a new wireless light. So if I bought another Key Light Mini and I had it hooked up and powered up and turned on, it's going to find that Mini. Then I would go ahead and hit OK. The next screen, which I demoed in the first live stream tonight, and it'll be on the video that I'm uploading tomorrow on the Elgato Key Light Mini. One of the chapters is on how to hook it up. Then what you do is you'd put in your wireless network. So mine's called Bennett, which is my last name. Then I put in my password, which I will not share here. And then after I put in my password, I click OK, and now it's going to show up just like this. It takes about 60, 70 seconds, and then it's going to populate right here with the other lights. If that's the only light you have, one Key Light Mini, you're only going to have one light in this little screen over here. This is the control software for Elgato lights, right? And then the app is something that you use inside Stream Deck. So you have to download the Stream Deck control, or the Elgato light control software. Again, you find it in the plugin page under control. And I showed that earlier. And then you would download that app, and then you'd use that to make buttons. But as far as getting the light connected to the app on your phone or to the app that's on your Mac or your PC, you would use the control software. And if you have it connected to your network and your PC sees it, then you should also be able to see it from your iPad. If you have an iPad or another smart device, or like me, I can use it on my iPhone. And when I first started streaming, I was just adjusting my lights pre-show with a big view of my camera right here on the app so I could get the right look. And I love the app for that. I also love the app if I go over to the desk and I need to switch lights up, I could use that. But again, it doesn't run my Godox UL150s. That's a different app and different software. So what I like about the Elgato stuff is that you can use it with the Stream Deck. You can get all these lights running from your phone or from your Stream Deck or from your Mac or your PC, and it just makes things a lot easier. It gives you lots of options. You could program other things with your lights. So I could actually program a button in my Stream Deck to change to this camera and have that light go to a key light and this light go to a fill light. And then if I had another light up above me, I would be able to turn that on as the hair light and turn this light off. And that's why I like the fact that the Elgato equipment integrates. They also have a foot switch, which is about $100 and some, and it controls up to 3 devices. So you could switch cameras from it. You'd have to create a Stream Deck button and then integrate that. You could turn lights on and lights off. I haven't had one. I hope it can do that because I just said it could, but that's about $100 and some. And if I was going to spend another $100, it would probably be another key light mini so that I could do the switch we're talking about. Have that light be my key, have that mini be my hair light for this camera, and have that light go down to a fill light. This light would come up to a key light, and I would have 2 and 2 and do it that way. And again, it looks pretty good with a key light and no fill on this side of my face because I'm getting a little from the hair light. If you position it right, it gives you just a little fill light. And I don't really like the extra white light on my hair because it makes me look even older and makes the gray pop even more. So guys, that's it, man. I have covered both live streams, covered not only the software for hooking up the Elgato Mini. Now we've looked at the Stream Deck and made buttons. We've played with SuperSource tonight. We fixed a logo that wasn't right. Again, we've talked Cloud Lifter, and I think it's a cool device. I would give it my approval. I do want to listen very critically on my own. You guys are getting to do that already. You can go back and listen to my live stream tonight or any one of my live streams. That's on the Sure SM7B without a cloud lifter. And then this is the only video on my channel that I've ever had a cloud lifter in the signal chain to my Rodecaster Pro. So Rodecaster Pro is a great device. It just does not have enough gain to power this mic. And that's true with a lot of mixers out there. So keep that in mind. And you can always get a cloud lifter and use a Rodecaster Pro and get what it sounds like, according to Conjoling Technologies, a better sounding Sure SM7B. Again, this microphone's somewhere in the 300 range now, depending on where the sales are. It's a great microphone. Dynamic microphone sounds great on voices, and I think it sounds just great on my voice. That's why I use it. So Freddie asked about the pod mic. I have a pod mic right here, and it's going into a snake, so there's just too many steps, Freddie, tonight to demo that. I will try to use the cloud lifter next week and have it set up so that I can quickly make a demo of the pod mic and then quickly go back to the SM7B because now this is my main microphone and I have the gains and all that set. And if I made those changes in a live stream, it would pretty much be a disaster. Even though I know exactly how to do it, I just don't think it's going to go to our best interest if I do that. So let's get this light off. I don't need that on. Using the software to turn the air off. And I got to cancel this, and then I can go in. Just keep in mind, you can't run these buttons if you're in the middle of adding a light. So now it's off, and I don't have a light on behind me. I just have my normal lights that you see in my live stream. So any last questions before we go? It is 1:15, and I don't want to keep you guys any later, but I will ask you to Freddie was on a phone call, he says, when I did that demo. I'm sorry, Freddie. So, but I will encourage you to go back and watch that part of the live stream, and I will work on chapter markers later tonight. I'm going to go eat dinner after the live stream, check in with the wife, check in with the dog, see if Ratso's mad at me for sticking him today in surgery, because that happened today. I was Dr. Keith, and he was patient today. But Ratso's great, and you can go back and watch the beginning of this video. I had him out of the box. I also had Grandpa Jones out of the box. If you missed that, and I kind of talked about the nose repair and then the string that kind of helps his arm look more natural. Let's see. Wow. My voice is smoother. Thank you, Doug Force. I'm glad it's smoother. I just wish I wasn't a little overexposed. I look like I'm probably 10% overexposed, but if I adjust this light down, which I have that on my Stream Deck, I can dim that light down, and I think it's just going to continue to be overexposed. Oh, it looked like it stopped down a little bit, so that looks a little bit better. We'll go out with this. Thank you guys so much for being on the live. Thank you for liking the video. If you haven't already subscribed, or you're watching this video after it was live and you didn't subscribe yet, if you enjoy these videos, I would really encourage you to subscribe. And I have a button here. I was just looking for it in Super Source inside Mix Effects. It looks a little different than when I have my macros up. So again, subscribe, ring the bell if you want to be alerted when that video comes out tomorrow. Again, I have the Elgato video. It's done. I made a couple little changes. Going to render it tonight. Going to write all the stuff that needs to go in the description, and that's going to be uploaded tomorrow with chapter markers. So it's going to take about an hour or two after I get it up to get it rendered, because it's going to be rendered up at 4K, even though I record at 1080p, and we can talk about that in another post show in the future. Why would I record at 1080p and then upscale for YouTube at 4K? We'll talk a little bit about why I do that. So thanks again for being with me tonight live. Thank you for sharing these videos and liking them. That is very much appreciated. I will do my best to try to get a super chat and super stickers on next week with the chat on the screen. In fact, I'm going to trim down the live just a little bit, the live show, as far as all the extra stuff I'm going to do. And I'm going to talk specifically about that if I can get it all done for next week's live, as well as the other things that I said I would do in that live stream next week. So keep that in mind. And again, working on finishing Ratso, working on some Ratso appearances in the near future. Kind of excited about that. And maybe even be doing a few videos in the future for a children's channel, which anybody could watch with Ratso and Grandpa Jones and Rudy and Benjamin Bear. And again, those guys will be showing up in the post shows. So keep that in mind. You'll get a chance to meet all four of my little buddies. And for whatever reason, it'll be in the post show. Small little snippets, definitely not the main focus unless it's your main focus. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to roll the outro here and say goodnight. And thank you again so much for joining me. And I would love to get your feedback if you watch both those videos back, what your thoughts are on the Cloud Lifter even after this show is over. So thank you so much. Again, I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and I'll see you guys, hopefully some of you tomorrow, in that new video I upload. Until then, peace.